Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/TMHP and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title for free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/TMHP.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dez, the producer of the Morning Huddle podcast, hitting you guys with another impactful episode. Now, I must say, this is probably the most realest episode we have recorded thus far because our guest, Cory Beal, keeps it all the way real on how to find relief on financial stress. Now, I got to give you a little disclaimer because he might just keep it a little too real. Cory gets explicit with his language on this episode, but that just goes to show his passion for helping you become financially stress-free. So I'm going to give you the warning now. There's going to be some cussing on this episode, all right? So sit back, listen up real good because this is a show you don't want to miss.
Good morning. It's time for your Morning Huddle, where we address how situations impact your mental health. In each episode, we take a deep dive into mental health issues by looking at ways to cope with mental illness and ways to break mental health stigmas. We talk about everything from emotional abuse to physical abuse and how to get help when you need it. There's no need to suffer in silence, because Eric is here to coach you to better mental health. Here's your host, Eric the Counselor.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's edition, another great edition of the Morning Huddle podcast with yours truly, me, your host, Eric the Counselor. Hey, be sure to follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm spending most of my time online, just hanging out, talking to you guys, getting your feedback, sharing, stories. That's where I hang out mostly on social media, is on Instagram. You can hit me up at Eric_the Counselor, and if you're talking about anything on your Instagram page, I might follow you back. But if you ain't talking about nothing, then hey, don't expect to see Eric the Counselor as one of your followers. Is that cool? I don't know, but that's the truth. Hey, so last week we did a replay of our anger management episode where we gave out 6 coping skills for anger management. That was our #1 show from season 1. That was the #1 most downloaded show. It kind of blew my mind how far away it was from #2. Like, people were really responding to that episode about anger management, and those tips must have been something that people needed. Yeah. And so we decided to play it again. We do get requests. People are dealing with anger and frustration, as Des
all
said.
the time. You see it all the time.
Yeah, man. And so
folks is angry.
Hey, we decided to replay that for you guys, and we're pretty sure that that's going to get a lot more downloads. So today, you know what, Des? This is episode number 13.
13 already?
In season 2, yeah.
Man, I done lost count.
We've been going hard at this thing for 13 straight weeks. We are marching our way to our 20th episode.
We close.
So, that's the 20th episode of season 2. And let me tell you guys, Dez is producing some really dope shows that you will not want to miss.
Hey, I say it every time.
Yeah, and people say that a lot. Mm-hmm. But we really mean it.
Yeah.
These upcoming shows that we have, if you are a subscriber or a listener to our show, you will not want to miss these shows that we have coming up. So just trust me on that.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I said, like we mention all the time, these shows are definitely something that's going to benefit you in your life and help you from, dealing, like to say, the coping skills for anger management, or, the show we did with Isaac on divorce, or, you know what I'm saying? These are topics and discussions that people are dealing with on a daily basis. So to be able to hear somebody else's, example and hear somebody else's situation can benefit you and help you out.
Yeah, which is the reason we decided to bring people on the show, to be able to hear their stories and learn from them. But listen, we are welcoming all feedback. You can DM any feedback. If you listen to our shows and you want to send us some feedback, you can send that to me on Instagram at Eric_the Counselor, also on Facebook at Eric the Counselor. And speaking of feedback, I'm going to read some of the feedback we've been getting, Des.
Okay, go
ahead.
Hit me
I'm
with
going to read some of the feedback we've been getting. So here's one. I'm not going to say anybody's names, in the vein of confidentiality, but I'll say this is what one person had to say. I listened to the divorce episode of the Morning Huddle. It was so great. I shared it. Tell Eric thank you so much for what he's doing. That's one. Someone must have listened to the divorce show. Here's another one. Actually, on the divorce show. I just heard your show on divorce. I really enjoyed the discussion, and I felt like my story was being told on air. Looking forward to listening to more shows.
Hey, so look, you already see that divorce episode was a deep one, was a heavy one.
It really was. And here's one I think you'll like, Des. So I had an opportunity to listen to the show on psychological and emotional impact of divorce. I mean, that show was really hitting, right?
Oh, for sure.
And the show really hit home for me as being a child of multiple divorces. Very powerful, and Dez is hilarious.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I do what I can. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody says it about Dez, man. So here's one more. I'll share this one. The show on top 10 self-care tips was on point. Ever since my son died, I've had to learn how to get back to self-care.
Wow.
Telling you, man, this show is powerful, Des. It's not just something that we do. This is a labor of love for each and every one of you, and we appreciate the feedback. So keep sending it to us.
Yeah, send us
in. Let us know. Again, Eric_the Counselor on Instagram or on Facebook at Eric the Counselor. You can send me those messages or any questions that you might have. I'll be sure to answer them. But today in the huddle, I have a financial expert. I got my man Cory Beal in the studio with us today.
Okay, big money.
I've been knowing Cory for, man, it's been a good 10 years at least.
Oh, man, more than that.
15?
Now, about 15.
15?
Don't shortchange it.
At least 15 years. And I'll let you introduce yourself. But first, I wanted to start off this show by sharing an article, all right? And let me just go ahead and let you guys know, Cory, everybody's intentionally invited, but I brought Cory on the show to talk about money because we need to hear somebody who's just going to give it to us like it is. Straight up, raw. You might not like how the information comes, but guess what? The information is going to be solid information, and that's why he's on the show today, because we want to talk about how finances actually impacts mental health. So I have this article here from USA Today. It was a 2017 article. Written by Peter Dunn. He's known as Pete the Planner, and this article is titled How Mental Health Impacts Financial Health. And I'm going to read a part of this article, Cory, to start our discussion, and then I'm going to bring you in to introduce yourself, and then we're going to get into this. So this is how the article starts. It says, America's mental health crisis continues to negatively impact our communities as very few sufferers are seeking or receiving proper treatment. The World Health Organization notes that 1 in 4 people will experience a mental or neurological disorder at some point in their life, yet, according to Mental Health America, only 44% of adults suffering are actually going out to get help. Now, whether a person is receiving treatment or not, our mental health challenges aren't experienced in a controlled environment. They affect our relationships, they affect our jobs, and they affect our finances. The relationship between mental health struggles and financial struggles are almost perpetual, or they seem perpetual. A person's mental health challenges can create financial challenges. Those financial challenges can create more mental health challenges, and the cycle rarely ever stops. Assets are spent, debt is acquired, and then financial hardships nearly surpass the mental health hardships, which seem to set the whole thing off at first. Cory Beal, introduce yourself to our audience, and let's have this conversation.
What's good, everybody? Cory Beal, man, from the south side of Chicago. Been down in Nashville for about 10, 15 years, played some ball, did my thing, and got introduced into this industry of finances, man. That really changed my life. Want to tell how I got into the industry, man?
Tell them about your business. You're the founder, or you the founder, or tell us about
Not a founder, man, but I'm an agency owner of Family First Life, Music City Brokers, man, where we specialize on tax-free retirement, but most importantly, we get to uninsured and insured, man, licensed in 25 states, and our broker with about 15 to 20 of the top insurance companies in the world, man. I always tell people, man, insurance is the most important piece of your portfolio that you need to add if you're trying to grow your money, man. Just some of the tax benefits, breaks that you get.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little later.
But yeah, I'm just going in.
Tell us why you got into this business. Why financial services for you?
Man, let me give you a quick story. So back when I was working at Dell Computers, I had a white boy I was cool with, man, named Brooks Winfrey, man, one of my main people, and we was going to open up this gym called Run and Shoot. I don't know if you guys familiar with Run and Shoot.
Talking the mic for us so people can
I don't know if you guys familiar with Run and Shoot. Run and Shoot is like this. It's the god of all gyms, man. Like 11 basketball courts, 5 tracks, you name it. And it was open up 24/7 in Atlanta. So we actually drove down there 11 o'clock one night just to go hoop because we were avid hoopers. So anyway, we get down there and we wanted to opened up one in Murfreesboro. At the time in 2006, Murfreesboro was the fastest growing city in the world.
In the world?
In the world.
Murfreesboro?
Yeah, Murfreesboro.
Oh, okay. Murfreesboro,
yeah, that's where the boom really kicked off at, in Murfreesboro.
Okay. Wow.
So it would have cost us $2 million to franchise, and we need $1 million of liquid assets and $1 million of hard assets. My mentor, who was talking about real estate investing, was going to put up the $1 million of real estate for us, and then it took me and Brooks to come up with $1 million. And during that time, I didn't know anything about business credit. I didn't know anything about business loan. Hell, I wasn't even putting money in the 401k, as much until Brooks sat me down and got squared away. So during that time, that 9-month time, as we was getting stuff squared away, my ex-wife, her father and mother passed away. TD was 41. His wife, not his wife, I'm sorry, her mother was 38 years old, 15 kids, no life insurance at all, not a penny, not a dime, 13 kids. And believe me, man, because her father was one of them guys in the streets, he had the guap. Yeah. It wasn't the issue. And matter of fact, his brother was a vice president of the bank and did financial planning. So it wasn't like they wasn't privy to the importance of life insurance. It was just flat out financial negligence. Yeah. So 15 kids, no life insurance. We had to come out of our pocket. Brooks' mother passed away during that same time. Homemaker for over 30-some damn years, left him $700K. He was going to take $500 of that to put towards his $1 million to bring in what's the name of that gym again? Run and shoot, to bring in that gym. And that's when I saw the divide right there. How he easily was going to take $500,000 from a life insurance policy, and put it toward the business.
That's
and
real.
Yeah, and that time we comparing. Yeah. We're comparing salaries because I'm making $80-some thousand a year. He making $60,000 a year. He went to UT. I went to Tennessee State. We were just talking about the differences amongst the races. And it was at that moment, Des, that I saw how quickly he surpassed me.
Wow. That quick.
That quick from a mother who wasn't fucking working. Wasn't working. She had enough sense to leave him damn near $1 million. But we come from two parents who sold major dope, who had a lot of money, 15 kids, no life insurance. And that's when I saw the divide right there. That's when I understood how stupid it was to call someone a trust fund baby or spoil or whatever the case may be. It's called preparation.
Hey, I would love to be a trust fund
man,
baby,
I was telling you.
Hell, I wish I was a trust
Y'all
fund
would have had that
baby.
run and shoot gym, right?
All day long.
Yeah.
So what I do, like the uninformed, uneducated Negro I was about finances, I backed away from the deal because I got jealous.
Wow.
Because I didn't know how the hell I was going to come up with $500,000. You the white boy. Yeah. Everything was coming through you. you know what I'm talking about?
Dude, man. I love it.
Everything was coming through you. I ain't know about that shit. So I bagged away.
Yeah.
Because how I was going to come up with $500,000 with a scarcity mindset.
All right.
Or making $80,000 a year, and I barely was putting money in my 401k or savings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I walked away from the deal.
Yeah.
And fast forward, I get into banking. I'm a licensed banker, making about $50-some thousand a year or whatnot. I had another job where I made another 20, so I'm about $70-some thousand plus bonuses, whatever the case may be. I was working in Hendersonville. And Hendersonville was the new Brentwood back in 2010. So that's why all the house wives would come in and, the mothers, wives would come in. They ain't had to work and shit. Their husbands was working.
Right.
So this particular housewife came in. Her husband at the time was the general manager of the Nashville Sounds. She used to come in all the time and shit. I don't know if she was flirting with a guy or not. I think she did, but,
So let me ask you a question.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you something, and then we can get to your question. So anyway, she said, hey, in about a week or two, I'm going to come in and open up some accounts for my two kids, 14 to 12. I'm going to get some savings accounts, want to teach them how to grow money, this, that, and the third. I said, well, y'all finna open up a lemonade stand? We laugh and things like that.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, they come in, and it was time for them to open up the kids' savings account, right, just to sit to park the money there. And sometimes I tear up when I say this story because I just couldn't believe it, because at that moment, you want to talk about furious times 10. These two kids came in with a check for $250,000 apiece.
A check.
And that's a check. And I said, damn, y'all sold a lot of lemonade.
Yeah.
I mean, $250,000 apiece. And I looked at both of these little white boys like they got more money than me.
Right.
Yeah.
14 to 12, $250K apiece. So the first thing I asked was, what the hell y'all do to get that?
Right.
Like,
naturally.
Which
I got a $500,000.
Right.
Well, their grandfather took, some policies out on all the grandkids, and he wanted to make sure that all the grandkids was going to be squared away, and, he figured he'd give, our kids a little bit of change. So he left, all the grandkids with $250,000.
Wow. What?
I said, all the grandkids? Yeah, it was 11 of them.
Yeah. He did that with cash or through a policy? Or
Through life insurance.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about life insurance, definitely.
And I said, hell no. Mm-hmm. Do you see how quick wealth got transferred? These kids, 14 to 12, middle class, right? They ain't really had no care in the world. But that once again, they leapfrogged my ass. 200. I ain't even had, and I'm 33 years old. I was making money. I could have been saving about $10,000 a week. I mean, not a week. I'm sorry, a month. Not a month. A year. Mm-hmm. I didn't even have 5 figures in my savings account during that damn time, and I'm a licensed banker.
Yeah.
But these two white boys come in, 14 to 12, with $250,000 apiece.
$250,000.
That's when I was like, who the hell is teaching our community?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I got my end, into doing what I do right now. Mm-hmm. And that's why I speak the way I speak.
Right.
Because too many people want to enable this shit. Like, it's a lot of black folk delusional about money.
Really, for sure.
Good. I'm glad you said that. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about money?
Well, shit, I come from the church. But,
in your opinion, what are some of the biggest misconceptions?
They say money is evil. Money is hard to make. Love is more important than money, which is the number one lie in the goddamn world. Money just grows on trees. Like, we just have such a disrespect for money, and we believe only bad people make money. You got to be an athlete, a musician, to make money.
Bad people?
I mean, I'm just talking about this. Like, I grew up around dope dealers, so I wanted to be a dope boy growing up.
Yeah.
So I saw all the dope boys with money. So the only way I thought you had to make money was through illegal means.
Right. So that's what you mean, bad people, or athletes, or musicians.
Yeah. Right.
Not everyday people going to work.
Not everyday people going to work.
Let's be honest. Even now, everyday people who go to work every day, they're not going to be rich.
Well, you know what? If most people look at their salaries, the average worker is going to be a millionaire at some point in your lifetime.
At some point, you will earn $1 million.
Yeah, you earn $1 million in a lifetime.
You ever had those 7 figures at one time?
No, I haven't had it yet. I mean,
working for 30, 40 years for anybody.
I'm on pace, though.
You know what I'm saying?
We getting there.
I'm getting there. Actually, I should probably hit 7
slowly but surely.
Yeah. Well, hey, but you are not an everyday worker. You are an entrepreneur. You're in a business where you get paid more than just a salary.
Yeah, that's true.
Your income is unlimited.
That's really true.
You know what I'm saying? It's based. You're going to get paid based on your
based on my work ethic. Absolutely, and I think
most people go to work every day already knowing how much they're going to make all year long, no matter what.
Yeah, and they will never be. To me, they will never experience true wealth if that's all you have. That's me. That's how I believe it. I don't see how you could.
Yeah.
With the cost of living, with things these days, how could you?
Yeah, man. Especially with inflation that I call the high blood pressure of wealth. Inflation come eat wealth up like it ain't nothing, man. But that's the shit we don't pay attention to. We could do 1,000 comments about Wanda and Kevin Cat Williams. Everybody got an opinion on that,
right?
And what should do and blah blah blah. But you talk about this money, people are quiet. But I understand that negativity.
Or they like to flaunt that they got it. Don't know how to manage it, don't know how to work it. But I got it. I got money. I think that's a big thing, especially with the young population, the young generation today, that, everybody wants to seem like they got it or they big time, big money. Right. But honestly, they don't, don't know what to do with $1 million if they got it.
Most don't. I remember I had $200,000 in my account, and I thought I damn near made it. I looked up 4 or 5 months later, that 200 bands was gone. That was out of there. I wasn't looking at no damn tag. We getting that.
You messing up a check.
We at the Waffle House getting pictures of orange juice. We don't want that nasty ass water.
So let me ask you. So you know how? Why do we? So the reason we spend money actually has neurological, origins.
Right.
Right. And so I'm gonna go back to this article, and I want to share this because I don't think most people know this. So I'm back at the article, the USA Today article from Pete the Planner. He says this: to better understand our brains and money, let's look deep inside of our brains. And this is where everybody needs to pay attention because I'm about to say something important. So it is not uncommon for people to feel better after spending money.
It's not.
It's completely natural. You can credit a thing called dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter which helps control the brain's pleasure or reward response. We talk about dopamine on a lot of different shows. So spending money actually activates and creates dopamine into your brain, which triggers the reward reflex in your body. No matter how rich or poor or whatever, spending money does that. Oh, let me say this. Now let me let you go in. So jump on in.
So think about this. Outside of that, which is true, they don't tell you that your mind operates in pictures. So if your mind operates in pictures and you spending money on things that is visually attracted to you, they go to release of the dopamine right there. Now you're a crack addict with a credit card in your hand. You're a crack addict with a negative bank account because you got to chase that high. You got to chase that picture of what wealth looked like to you. So in today's time, which is unfortunate, he's not speaking upon that, but we've been bombarded by advertisements.
Oh, what? Today's
25
time.
hours a day, 8 days a week, 367 days a year.
Another hour a day in a year.
So in today's time, you are forced to become a consumer.
Yeah.
Because
like let's look around this room and count how many times we're advertised to. Yeah. I'm looking at your shirt. I'm looking at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
building,
6. I'm looking at.
Right. I mean, it's all around.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, we got a TV on.
Every
right
single place you look, you're being, advertised to.
So since your mind operates in pictures, you're gonna naturally want that if you're already addicted.
Yeah.
So you're a walking addict.
Yeah. A walking addict.
You're a walking addict.
Addicted to spending.
Addicted to spending. Addicted to validation. Addicted to the pat on the back. Addicted to
dopamine.
Yeah.
Hey, that's crazy.
And no one is really. Just think about it, man. When you go home, talk to your wife, well, you may be an anomaly because you're a therapist, but on average, how many couples are having this conversation?
About money?
About dopamine.
About
Fuck money.
About dopamine.
About being an addict. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? How many folks having that conversation?
Man.
No one.
Yeah.
Because we like to we oppress.
It's taboo.
It's taboo. Can't talk about it.
We talk about money in my house.
Yeah. As I said, you different. You're a different breed.
So let me ask you this: how can people set up boundaries to kind of like block that desire to want to spend money? As an expert in this field, like what would you tell your client that's having a problem with spending?
One of the things that I realize is that you got to have a relationship with your older self.
You got to have a relationship with your older self.
Okay. So like every decision I make right now, I'm 41 years old, so every decision I make now impacts 45-year-old Cory. So I think about 45-year-old Cory all day long.
Can I add something to that?
Yes, sir.
I think about my 80-year-old self.
Now fuck that. He too old.
I think about taking care of him. Maybe when we talk about retirement and other things.
Yeah. But I promise you.
I think about him.
I promise you. The way the mind operate, man. We need quick victories. We need quick wins. So it's easier for me to see 45 than 80.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if I could take care of 45, then I know I'm finna take care of 50. Yeah. If I'm going to take care of 50, it's a good chance I'm going to take care of 55 because my track record, my momentum of winning, I'm creating those standards and boundaries that eventually 80-year-old Cory is covered.
Yeah.
But as long as I look at 80-year-old Cory, my dumb ass going to fall into the number one disillusion many of us have is, shit, I got time.
Oh, man, that is definitely a disillusionment if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, so, every decision I make impact 45-year-old Cory.
Right.
So I talk to my clients like, where you want to be at 45? Talk to me at 45. How does 45 look to you? And how many 45-year-olds you know? That's broke, that ain't kicking it. That,
I ain't kicking it.
you know what I'm saying? That's still driving a bogus ass
ain't
whip.
kicking it.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever. You know, not driving a bogus whip because they trying to be frugal.
Right.
Because that's all they can fucking afford
Yeah.
after 45 years on being on Earth.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, you got to
Yeah.
really look at it like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. So I tell my clients, look at your mother. You see your mother suffering right now. Is that the path you going on? Because it seems like y'all making the same damn decisions.
And I've heard him say this in an audience of people. I was in the audience when he actually has said this, for real. He's not. I told y'all, you might not like the way the message comes, but hey, it is what it is.
Because some folks got to get smacked in the damn face. Niggas think
He's trying to I wish I could see
Gotta
how
hold
hard
this
he's
man
trying to
back,
censor
boy. He
himself.
trying to.
He's trying to censor himself. I appreciate it for the show.
People think it's sweet, man. I mean, like, they don't think their ass gonna be broke at 60, bro.
People
like,
are broke now.
Do folks understand that we're living in a gig economy? Do folks know what a gig economy is?
Most don't. Tell them.
Yeah, I was just about to say,
Ubering.
look, tell me.
Ubering, Lyft,
Waiting tables.
DoorDash, like what you doing, you ain't gonna be able to do it 10 years from now. If you're 60 years old right now, Ubering, you ain't gonna do that shit at 70. They finna shut it down. And if you're 50 years old, depending on working for Uber, you know what I'm saying, for side money, that shit finna be gone. I'm gonna be honest with you. It would have been gone by 3-4 years from now if they would have never had that accident.
Which accident?
With the driverless Uber car that killed someone. That technology, they like, hold on, wait a minute, partner. You know, we finna put this technology out in the world. So that bought us another 10 years of enjoying the gig economy.
Yeah.
Because what's happening right now, my man from Amazon that we all applauding is building a big-ass facility in Atlanta that's going to be 50% robots. So there go your jobs right there, gone.
Ain't no jobs.
Which brings stress. So let's bring it back. What are some ways people can block that desire to spend money?
I don't think you should block the desire. I think you should have boundaries. I do think you only got one shot at life, so you should enjoy living. But you create your heaven. I think that's what you have to do. Create your financial heaven. Write down your picture of what a financial heaven look like in your household, look like for you, and then go after that. You know, fuck the dumb shit when they say you can't wear white after Labor Day. Fuck that. If you want to rock white, rock white. That's your heaven.
Hey, let me say this. Honey, when Ava's listening to the show, tell her to cover up her ears. My
fault, Ava.
My daughter listens to the show.
My bad, Ava. Uncle Corey is a fool.
Daddy's podcast.
You're lucky I don't have some Deuce in me.
Oh, yeah, it would be a whole nother show.
It'd be a whole nother show. It'd be
Hey.
Eric the Counselor after dark. You know what I'm saying?
Des, we definitely got to put the explicit when we upload the show. There's an option.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure we click explicit, okay? But hey, we're having a good time, Corey. So let's switch lanes a little bit. All right,
Yes, sir.
Let's switch it up. I need you to explain the importance of life insurance, retirement planning, wills, estate planning. Let's break it down because here's my thing. Y'all not gonna like it. Some people are not. I just do not give money to GoFundMe's for funerals.
You shouldn't.
I don't. I'm sad. It is heartbreaking to see people struggling trying to bury people, but it's just a principle because it costs pennies on the day almost, or dollar. But, my life insurance we've talked about it.
Yeah.
We're covered. It doesn't cost me much to have $1 million worth of coverage. It really doesn't cost me much. I'm paying less than $100.
Oh, that's perfect.
Two kids. Both of my kids have little riders. My wife and I are covered. So really, sadly, I'm worth more dead than I am alive right now. But
So,
let's talk
Tiffany,
about
if you
the
want me to
important-
kick him down some steps,
Don't take no.
just let me know. I just want 100,000.
Break me off
He
a
said
little
it real
piece,
smooth.
man.
Take me off a little piece.
Yeah, man, break it down like for real, man. Talk to people about not just the financial gain from having an insurance, but like why is this stuff important?
Just look at the story, man. Mother wasn't working for 30 years. Homeowner. Left him $750,000. He was gonna take that $500,000, put it on the business,
Right.
like it was nothing. It wasn't even a second thought.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take this $500 and put it on the business. I had him with I'm gonna think about it,
Let me think about it.
cause I ain't getting no
get back
fucking
with you.
500,000. I was already the overdraft king back in the day too. So shit, that was one bill that wasn't gonna get paid back.
So there's a financial benefit from having life
Oh
insurance?
man, I mean,
it's all financial.
The transference of wealth. You're gonna die.
Right.
You get to transfer wealth.
So give people an example of how cheap life insurance is.
Oh man, a can of Coke
A day.
a day. People spend $7 a week on stuff that they eat.
Right.
Soda, chips, Starbucks.
I spent $12
McDonald's.
outside of my house just today.
$12. You don't know where the hell that money went.
Yes, in somebody's pocket. Somebody's cash
So
register.
12 times 4 is $48. So on average, he gonna blow $48 a month.
Yeah.
Well, that could have bought his ass a week. Oh,
$200
$200
a month.
So they go, folks. They go $1 million
That's a
policy
great
right
life
there.
insurance policy.
That's the money that you
Wow.
can put into like an insurance account that can give you tax-free benefits. $200 a month. We're talking $50 a week. You know what I'm saying? $2.25 a day.
Yeah.
What you doing with $2 a day?
So it's affordable.
It's very affordable, and they got coverages where I get anybody insured from heart attack to AIDS.
No matter what
So,
precondition.
no matter what pre-existing condition, I could get you covered. There's no excuses. The fact of the matter is, the reality is, you don't love yourself and you don't love your family. You could give a fuck about your future or theirs.
Yeah.
That's the reality. That's the hard truth. That's what you're saying.
So what about people who let's break it down. What about people who are already struggling to make ends meet, period, day to day? They need that $7 a day for gas or for food or whatever. Like, what do you say to those individuals? You know, they may be making less than $20 an hour, which is tough.
You got to find a way to save, man, to live within your means. At the end of the day, you got to find a way to save. Like, the first person you need to pay is yourself. I know people say it's 10%, but really 15% need to be coming to you off the rip before church, before any charity, before you give money to your kids, before you pay any bills. 15% of that money need to be going to an account that's growing money, because at the end of the day, bills don't get sick. At the end of the day, bills just don't up and move. You know what I'm saying? Out the country.
I wish they would. Get out of here.
So you got to take care of yourself. At the end of the day, your friends just as broke, so they ain't going to take care of you either.
Right.
So, self-preservation is something that we got to talk about a lot. And the fastest way the easiest way to take care of yourself is to treat yourself like a business. Fund your lifestyle. Fund the type of lifestyle that you want. That's the first thing you have to do. Secondly, look at your environment. You got to have true discipline to really don't live above your means. I mean, a lot of us is fronting for people who ain't shit but a D student. Like, the type of person we fronting for, they a goddamn D student. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta consider the source who you fronting for, who you need validation from. Yeah. I tell a lot of my clients, the only thing they need validation is parking. So you don't need validation for someone who's just as broke as your ass. And believe me, I've sat down with thousands of people. Some of the big wigs in the city who you think balling.
They ain't balling.
They ain't balling, bro.
So what about retirement? Earlier, I was talking about how I think about the end game. I'm thinking about at 80, I hope to still be living. But when I say 80, for me, that's the twilight of life. I'm going to be enjoying my life, not worrying about money. But my young 37-year-old self is working for that old man. So talk about retirement planning.
Well, the blueprint is out there. Every day you get on Murfreesboro Road, every day you get on the E-Way, there's someone out there selling the contributor. So you got to ask yourself, how the hell they end up out there, right? Outside of having
I actually stop and ask these people, like, how did you find yourself in this situation?
What were some of the things they said?
Man lost their job, issues with family, them burnt all their bridges basically, and they have no other option.
No other options because they was negligent. They lived a life full of negligence.
Yeah.
Cause when life happens, it happens. You know. So one of the things, man, like I said earlier, fall in love with yourself 5 years from now. Fall in love with yourself, because 60 months go like that.
It does.
And make plans to where you want to be at 5 years from now. And once again, the blueprint is in front of you. The data is out there. You see how people are living. Look in your family first. First, look at someone in your family that's been on this earth for 40, 50 years. And ask them how come they haven't accumulated wealth. Ask them how come they didn't plan for retirement.
They're going to say, hey, I don't know.
And the number one thing they're going to say, like, my average client is 47 years old, make about 90-some thousand a year. And the number one thing they say is, I wish I would have started this shit when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because they don't believe that time flies. People disrespect time. People don't place a value on time. And next thing you know, you're 27, you're 32, you're 41, you're 63. Mm-hmm. And you like, how the hell I end up at 63 years old? Because folks are not planning.
What should they be doing as far as planning for their 63-year-old self?
Like
retirement age.
Like I said,
401ks.
The first thing you need to do. Well, 401k ain't nothing but a tax prison.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you got to understand that, you know, the most you should put in 401k is the match. Anything outside of that, Uncle Sam coming and knocking at your door. You know, you giving Uncle Sam free money to tax you, man. And the reality of the matter is this: those that's listening, you know, Uncle Sam will probably come get 39% of your money at retirement. You don't know what.
What about a Roth?
You don't even know what taxes. That's after tax dollars.
Right.
You know, so
a Roth is better than the traditional.
Roth is much better than the 401k, but shit, you still can lose your money depending on the market tank. Mm-hmm. You can lose everything in a Roth, man. The number one protection is in life insurance, and that's facts.
What type of? You got life. You got whole
an index universal life policy, man. Index universal life policy guarantee your principal. You know, so even if the market tank, you could never lose money. Mm-hmm. You can never lose money. Your principal is protected. Life insurance, and this is a fact, is the number one tax break. That's where most of all the wealthy people put their money at. Think about old O.J. Simpson. When he lost that civil trial, remember $33 million just went missing, right? He put it in an insurance policy, lawsuit protected.
What?
And it's tax-free.
Hold on. You can put money into a life insurance policy.
Yeah. And protect you from lawsuit, fellas, child support.
I'm gonna be honest, I've never heard that. I sold life insurance for a couple months.
Because they're not telling people this. Man, insurance companies ain't finna tell y'all this. Why they want to tell you this? They got their agents.
Why wouldn't
they
you,
got
though?
the Susan Orsman and the Dave Ramsey's telling y'all what type of insurance to put money in.
Yeah, they got the agents. Look how he's looking. Well, we need to do this. We need to put a camera in the studio.
They got the agents out there telling y'all. And y'all dumbasses believing them.
Yeah.
Why they actually putting money? I had a Primerica rep tell me,
which is who I used to be affiliated.
Right, tell me that you know, they're against whole life. It's buy term and invest the difference,
that's
right?
The whole Primerica
but
way.
Guess what? In their investment department, their number one guy in the investment department actually wanted me to work for that company.
Yeah.
And guess what? They put some of they rich folk in. Whole life policies.
Yeah.
Why? Because it protects them.
Protects their money.
But they ain't gonna tell your ass that though. They ain't gonna tell the soldiers that. The soldiers don't know that. That's why I laugh at Primerica reps. That's why I love taking their clients, because they ain't do nothing but sell overpriced terms. But that's another conversation.
So all right. So retirement planning, you need to think about life insurance.
You need life insurance for the tax benefits first and foremost. That's the number one thing. There's no BS. Tax-free retirement is something you should be thinking about, because you don't know what tax is going to be. And the reality of the matter is this: gas is $5 in California. You'll be a fool to think it ain't gonna be $5 in Tennessee the next 3, 4, 5 years from now. You gotta understand inflation. You gotta understand that taxes is gonna constantly grow. You gotta understand that the deficit that we in, that they gotta get their money from somewhere, so they gonna raise the taxes. So you gotta ask yourself, what tax is gonna be at 63 years old?
Yeah.
What is it gonna be at 63?
Yeah, and let's just face it, most people, we're not wired to think like that or about it. That's why we need people like you. You know, that's why it's important for me to bring people like you on the show to introduce a lot of this to our listeners. I mean, let's think about it. Most of you listening probably have not heard of some of these things that we're discussing, and it's probably going over your head. And it's okay. We're going to tell you how to get in touch with Cory.
Most definitely. I was going to say, because I'm definitely one of them over here. I'm over here like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah. So let's talk about wills and like trust. And so, you know, recently, Aretha Franklin passed away. Prince passes. Like all these people with millions of dollars worth of assets, they pass away with no plan. What do you talk to us about the importance of these tools?
Well, like I said, unfortunately, artists like Aretha and Prince, I'm sure they didn't think they was gonna die in the manner.
Well, Aretha knew she knew she was going.
She knew she was, and she should have got her affairs in order.
I mean,
it's unfortunately that people would spend 1,000 comments about the damn funeral, even though that pastor did grope old girl, nasty bastard. You know, the black church let black pastors get away with that all the time, though. So that's why he was easily defended. But anyway, wills, you got to leave a legacy. But remember, it's environment. Remember, you gotta understand, we come from a culture where we hear with our eyes and we see with our ears. So when we're in an environment where nothing has been left to us, we think that's the right thing to do. See, we hear a lot of folks talking like, I could talk about losing weight all day long. Right? I could talk about it, but your eyes is hearing me.
Like, hey.
Your eyes is hearing me. So if you don't see me lose weight, it goes in out the other ear. That's the same reason why we don't have wills and trusts, because 9 times out of 10, 9 out of every 10 black people that they don't see a will being left. They don't see trust being left. So they may understand the importance of it, but they can't emulate nothing.
Yeah.
And that they never had. And most importantly, most of us, we think everything is a scam. So we don't want to step out the box and say, you know what? Out of 100 million people in the world, you know what I'm saying, that didn't have a will, look at the communities. Look at the reason why communities look the same. Now, when we go over here to this community, we understand that everything is done with life insurance and tax planning and estate planning. You would think, but this was I was talking about being, you gotta unfriend yourself from mediocrity. So we are in the sunken place when it comes to mediocrity. So we're afraid to step out our boundaries. Yeah. But back to his point, having a will is the most important thing, one of the most important pieces of documents to have if you care about your family. I mean, if you care about certain looms, like you may have that watch on Des, which is a dope watch, right? And as you have children, you may want to pass that watch down. You know what I'm saying? And let's say you got 3 Dez's, right? And you want Dez number 1 to give it to his future Dez, things of that nature. Well, without a will, and you owe some debt, and that watch has some value versus the emotional value that you could bring to your family, understanding these are the shoes. These are some shoes, because my father was a great man. He left me with this watch on, and every time I have this watch, I understand what I have to do as a man. Well, you might owe some debts on that watch you got to pay for because it has some value.
So does a will protect you from debtors or whoever's named in the will? Does
will and a trust, especially a trust. You put everything in a trust. Put everything in a trust.
So who needs a will?
Everybody needs a will.
I mean,
everybody needs a will. Everybody needs a trust. Everybody, so as long as you got a check, as long as you got a check in a savings account, you can set up a trust.
So tell us about it.
Because that's part of your estate right there. I can't really get into that.
You can't get into it
because I don't want to be serious licensed or whatnot.
Yeah,
so I can wink
I got you.
And give y'all some advice. Set y'all up with some financial advisors.
Okay.
But just know that having a checking account, a checking and savings account, you can start an estate. You can start a trust from there, and it protects you against debtors. Just know what I just said.
Right. So
it protects you.
Will. What's the process of getting the will going?
And you get with a lawyer. A lawyer can help you draft up. So Eric K. Part leaves XYZ to Ava. Right? We're going to knock on wood that we don't want nothing to ever happen to you and Tiffany. But say if there's something that happened to you and Tiffany, if Tiffany get that piece property and she can't stand, she throwing it away, but you want this princess of yours to have it, right? Well, as long as it's in that will, you can say, hey, this is definitely going to Ava, and if Ava ever need to sue Tiffany, she can sue Tiffany, but we know none of that shit is going to happen. I just want to use that as an example.
Update it, right?
And you can always update it, right? So you get to protect what's most precious to you in a will if you want to keep it in your damn family. It's really that simple. And if you don't have a will, you are complicit with financial negligence.
So my question is, how
I'm financially negligent. My wife and I talked about it. I wanted to talk to you about it. We're going to write a will.
I get you. I got a lawyer that'll help you get it squared away.
Let's do it. We're serious about it, and we want to get a will going.
Yeah,
that's the type of transparency we need to have.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how soon do you need to write a will? Like, like say for the like, when should you start writing your will?
Like for this, he just got married. He doesn't have any kids.
You have some valuables?
I do.
Okay, then. So that's why you need to write a will. Okay. Because you specify where you might want those valuables to go to.
Yeah.
You may want to go back to the great Tennessee State University. Right? What if you created a trust? You have a a lot of money coming in and you want to have a dead scholarship for radio. And every year you're going to get $500 to a particular student from your hometown. These are the things you could do. You could become your own economy. You could become your own bank when you have the proper documents in place. And that's what they don't want to teach you guys about, because the government depends on your ignorance.
Right.
And as well as the insurance company.
Yeah.
So they want you to ball out. They do. They don't want to teach y'all about true term insurance, even though I spoke to you about it. But to be honest with you, he really has death insurance. You want to know why he has death insurance? Because he can never benefit from it.
Right. That's all it is.
But true term insurance with living benefits, that's real life insurance. You have a heart attack, you have stroke, you have cancer, any type of critical chronic illness, you could take money from that term insurance policy and never pay it back. So you could take up to $100,000, $200,000 that could pay your mortgage. Because what if you got to be out of work for 7 months? So I want you to really think I want y'all to understand how the insurance, they know their clients, especially black clients. They know that the median savings, let me say this real quick. They know that the median savings of a black man is $72.
Savings, like I'm surprised at that.
I ain't say average, I said median.
Right.
So they also know that folks live paycheck to paycheck. They also know that black men, for some odd reason, still think we 17 years old, so we could go out there and play basketball. You know what I'm saying? But we don't work out like an athlete anymore, right, when we're 41. They know that. So they know that we're a cesspool of health issues waiting to explode, right? So why would I sell you a policy that you could get $100,000 on for $40 a month? When I know you finna have that heart attack, when I know you finna have that stroke? Why would I sell you that policy? Because at the end of the day, once you write the claim, they got to give you that money. So they're not going to tell you about that policy. They're not going to tell you that based on the new actuary rates, and I get into all that for you, based on the scales, that they know that you have a greater chance of having a heart attack, stroke, diabetes before you die at age 70. They know you're going to get sick. And they know your ass ain't saving. So guess what you going to get hooked up on? The new dope, pharmaceutical. They the biggest dope dealers out now. Like Walgreens, the biggest gang banger. They on every corner with a red sign.
24 hours.
24 hours, banging. They ain't getting you hooked. They know all that. So they're not finna give you access to monies that life insurance could provide for you. So I'll give you an example. I had a nurse, worked at Vandy, 37 years old. Jogging, smoker, triple bypass.
Dang.
Had a $500,000 policy. Cut her a check for $187,000.
Does she have to pay it back?
No. Didn't have to pay it back. Only had about $4-5 in her savings account.
Does that lower the face value of her
It
policy?
lowers the face value, but think about it. Do you really give a fuck if the face value is lower and you alive?
Because of
and you got tax-free money that was handed to you, $187,000, that allow her to pay off her car, that allow her to pay her rent up for 12 months, that allow her to rehab on top of the long-term money she was getting from her job?
Wow.
Come on now. They're not going to take, but see, with his policy, he won't be able to do that because he got to croak over.
I got to die.
He got to die. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just like you upgrade your phones, folks need to look at upgrading their term insurance. Yeah. But they're not going to talk about that.
I'm ready to talk about it. I am, because things have changed.
Exactly.
And my mind has changed about a lot of things. I've had my life insurance policy for I don't know how long, and just what is it called, the increase in
the term,
whatever it's called. But anyhow, listen, we're running out of time. But I do want you to give people 3 easy to do things they need to do tomorrow to start getting their finances in order.
All right. I recommend that you download this application called Mint. Mint is a great budgeting app. I call that the paparazzi for your money. It's going to really tell you where you're spending your money. It follows your money. Get you Mint and get you an Excel document if you know how to do Excel, and be serious about your budget. Look at your bank statements for the past 6 months and see where your money is being spent.
Is that the second thing to do?
That's the second thing to do. Look at your bank statement. Go be like Waldo. Follow the money. Where's Waldo? You know, because a lot of people eat their retirement.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, they talking about they don't got money saved up, but if they look at their bank account and see how much money they spending on fast foods, you know, they might have a heart attack right then and there.
What's one last thing that people definitely need to do?
Get with somebody real. Don't get with one of these old cheesy-ass insurance brokers or retirement specialists that just want to enable you and pat you on the back and don't tell you that you actually fucking up. You know, get a true accountability partner. Get to know your banker. You know, that's the guy that control your money. Get to know your broker. That's the guy that can help you build up your portfolio. And don't kick it with anybody that's broke. Husband, wife, anybody.
If you got a group of 9 people, all of them broke, you join the group, you'll be 10.
Yeah, break away from that, man. Break away from mediocrity, man. Those are top 3 things, man, that I'm telling most of my people to do. And be serious about your money, man, because it's serious.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Morning Huddle Podcast. We hope you learned a lot. And like I told you, Cory was going to keep it real with you, didn't I? And if you want to get in touch with Cory and ask him any financial questions, you can reach him at a cell phone number at 615-818-5345. Once again, that is 615-818-5345. You can also hit him up on LinkedIn and Facebook at Cory Beal Senior. That is CORYBELE Senior. Also, make sure you check out his business Facebook page at Family First Life Music City Brokers. And also make sure you check out his Instagram page that I am Cory Beal Senior. So that is all our time for the day. And in the words of Eric himself, make it a great day, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Morning Huddle Podcast. For more information about this episode, please visit www.themorninghuddlepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Eric_the_Counselor. All information set forth in the Morning Huddle Podcast and on themorninghuddlepodcast.com is not professional mental health care or medical care. Information expressed is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind.